and welcome back to Farmers Travels with another 10-minute travel tip. And today we'll be talking eating local. Now, when I'm saying eating local, I'm not talking going to your local Wimpy or your local McDonald's or the local restaurant here in South Africa. What I'm talking about is when you travel to a different country. And even in a different country, I'm not saying eating local, meaning KFC. That's not local, that's brand name eating, guys. So, most of us are afraid when we are in a foreign country to try different foods or to try and eat local. And for most, the reason is, and I understand it when people tell me that when they are eating local, they tend to end up having a tummy bug. Now, there are various reasons why you get a tummy bug. Sometimes it's what we call just plain traveler's diarrhea. That is, the food is either too rich for you or your constitution is not used to that type of food, and usually those things tend to take 1 or 2 days to just work themselves out with a little bit of Imodium. Others do get serious tummy bugs, but I'll be giving you guys a few pointers on to avoid this type of situation where you end up being sick from eating at a local restaurant. Right. The first thing that you do, usually when we arrive in a new country, is wherever we stay in a hotel, we'll eat. Usually, when you're staying at hotels or guest houses, breakfast is included, which is nice, and that gives you time to start talking a bit to expats. Asking the expats where would they suggest to go to a nice local restaurant, and also what are their preferences. Now, be careful with this one. Some expats tend to be staying on, they have more money with them, so they'll be suggesting more expensive restaurants. But for the most, when you eat local, you can expect to at least eat for at least at the most expensive half the price of what you can find at a hotel. All right. Then we're armed with your information that you have from the local expats. You go down the road and you start walking around in the town, village, or wherever you are, and you start looking at local restaurants. And please do not do this at a time when there's nobody eating. Try and get a trend on how the locals eat. Like, for instance, in Asia, that would be more early morning to your night times. That's the time that the Asia they will eat. Um, for Europeans, it's midday, more to midday. That would be so. Look at what the culinary trends are. Not culinary. Sorry, guys. Let's say the eating trends. Right. That's me trying to use big words and yeah, making a fool of myself. um, so try and get set that trend. When are they all in the country, or when are they eating? Right. Then the second thing is, armed with the information, as I said earlier, that you have, and now you have the trend set. Start looking at the local restaurants. All right. How many, first of all, how big it is, and how many people are seated inside the restaurant. If it's a big area, but there's during rush hour, there's only like 10 people sitting there, I would say pass that restaurant. Even if the price is cheap, you can risk it. You can risk it. It does not to say that that restaurant is not good, the food is not good, but be careful because we have a saying: if the food starts flowing, the chances of getting sick is very low. All right. So find a restaurant that's usually busy. All right. It's a bit of irritating in the beginning because usually these busy local restaurants can be a bit too much to your senses. And a lot of people complain about it, then say, okay, that's why we rather eat at the restaurant, it's quiet. But that's also part and parcel of how you can catch the vibe, the vibrance of that community. People from the community will approach you in the restaurant and start talking to you. And if you're struggling with a menu, usually 9 out of 10 times somebody who speaks English will come and help you with a translation, or there are translations on it. So that is there, right? So once you've found your local restaurant, all right, stick to it. Don't jump around too much, all right? For the reason is that first of all, you didn't get sick there. The chances of jumping around will increase your risk um, for getting sick. And start making friends with the people at the restaurant. All right, the waiters, the people who work there, who live there. All right. Um, that is quite important because once they, if you're staying in a place for say a week, they start to get to know you, and you will find that the community starts accepting you as well. You'll be able to get more information on some nice things, or you walk into a place and ask for information on, say, a trip or a tour, and they'll be much more open towards you. Because for most people, is the fact that they think because you're willing to share in their local tradition, their local restaurant, or their place where they gather and eat, they find it much better to accept you. Whereas you would stay at the hotel, they get is like, okay, this guy thinks he's rich and he's above everybody, so we'll nail him. All right, that that has helped us plenty of times. People, okay, me being 1.96 meters, you can't miss me walking down the street. So by the first, second, third night, um, usually the locals know, okay, this is the big guy. He loves to eat, he loves to talk, and he loves to have a good conversation. Um, and suddenly the attitude in the community starts changing towards you. And I found that sometimes even a taxi ride would be much cheaper than what a normal, let's say, tourist would pay for it. All right. So, first tip that I said is information from your expats. Make sure that the restaurant is always busy. All right. Then there's also this the street of vending, or when what we call the small restaurants. It's the guys where you stand on the side of the street and they sell the food and you take it home. Sometimes, guys, that is the most delicious food that I've eaten. Is buying this street vending food. Right. Rules once again. Make sure it's a busy one. Make sure that you can see that the food is well prepared. All right, always cooked. Don't buy raw food. I think we all know it from childhood, but in certain countries, raw fish is quite a delicacy. Don't try and eat it. Um, your stomach or your constitution might not be used to it, and you will end up either being sick or having traveler's diarrhea. All right. Guys, eating at the local restaurant, except for being cheap, except for making friends, the most important and part of, as I said earlier, is the vibrance, becoming part of the community. And if you take all of that, the food that you eat there are out of, sometimes it is a family that prepares the food, usually a family setup, and you are also supporting now a family that's trying to make a living, right? So it would usually be the grandmother, the mother, the father, and the children that's cooking. All right. So you're getting true traditional food from that country or that village that you can eat, and also you're, as I said, you're supporting a family to make a living. And that for me is the most important part of this whole thing, is the fact that you getting the true authentic food that you need. Uh, Whereas the hotels tend to more twist it to a Western style. You know, it might be a nice, what, let's say, steamed fish, or but there's a Western touch to it, right? Whereas if you want to buy a steamed fish, traditional Thai or um, East African chango, which is deep fried. When you eat the chango, for instance, in deep fried fish in oil from the hotel, it is more, you'll find it's got a Western style to it. But when you go into the village, where the vibe is, they're not going to serve it to you with potato chips. They're going to serve it for you to you with porridge or pap, lekker millipap, and cassava. Right. So there's the differences, and those subtle differences is what's making the food so much more palatable. Right. So let's recap the rules. We are at 10 minutes. First rule: talk to the expats. Make sure the restaurant is busy during the lunch rush hour. And check for, of course, neatliness and cleanliness and those things. You won't make a mistake, and you will pay at the most half to a quarter of the price. I just said half the price of what you will pay at the hotel. Guys, thank you for watching the 10-minute travel tip. Guys, please use the zapper here in the corner and support my channel. Currently, my import export business is dead due to the coronavirus, and that was my business that supported me and my family's traveling. So guys, please support my channel by using the zapper if you want to. Also, go down in the description, follow me on Twitter, and also I would say like to say thank you to Skynology for the internet service providing. Cheers, good night, everybody, and keep yourself safe. Bye bye.